we have here Lion M.K. Purohit, Manoj Kumar Purohit ji. He is the incoming district governor elect of 320A, a very powerful orator, a very regular trainer, and I've known him for more than 3.5 decades. I think he's a Lion for about 4 decades, perhaps. I'm not very sure. I think roughly about that time. And he is perhaps one of the very few Lions certified instructors in India. So there is something called LCIP, which is the highest training program available to any Lion anywhere in the world. And hardly a few Lions have qualified for that, and Lion Manoj Kumar Purohit is one of them. So we invite you, Mr. Purohit, to conduct the session. Over to Lion Purohit.
Thank you very much, Lion Nagaraju, for your kind words of introduction. It's indeed a pleasure to be here when our multiple is organizing these programs so that we can get in touch with our Lions in this quarantine period when we are all in home. Friends,
correct.
Welcome to this wonderful webinar wherein we are exchanging our thoughts. My topic today is working in teams, and as Lions we are exposed to a lot of work which we have to do in teams. We have our spread across the globe, and naturally we need teamwork. Teamwork not only at a local club, but the teamwork has to go up to the international level. And we are blessed with this opportunity. This opportunity doesn't come to everyone. Only when you are attached to an organization like Lions International, you get an opportunity to build your teamwork right from your local club level to international. Well, teamwork has been the hallmark of humanity. Man as such is a social animal, and we love to be in company of other men, and we love to interact and team up to do some good things. Right from the days when the civilization was not so advanced, and when people used to hunt, they used to form teams and earn their livelihood or whatever you call it. Later on, when we took to agriculture, then again it required teamwork, whether the teamwork was within the family members, brothers, sons, and immediate family, or beyond that. So teamwork comes to us in our genes. But then as we advance and we get a lot of achievements in our lives, we get into few issues like ego or some preconceived notions that also comes in a way of our performing better as a team. Now, we have this many times in our clubs, we see, or even in companies, and particularly in government organization, we see situations like this. Can you relate to these situations in your clubs? What happens is only a couple of persons or 1 or 2 persons or 3 persons in a club work hardly, maybe the president, secretary, or a very senior Lion who is always committed, and at the call of the club, he goes to the field. What happens is a lot of people do guide, and we have lesser number of people who go and get the things done. And if this situation continues, it's naturally that the output of all these people put together will be equal to the output of one person. Then where is our slogan that we serve? This is a situation where it's only I serve or I do. But then our motto is not I serve, it is we serve. So we have to unlock our potential and everyone should get into the act of getting things done. Then only it is a teamwork. Now when we move on to teamworks, sometimes it happens like this. Two persons or two teams work in different situations and different areas, and when we have this collaboration of their results, this situation may arise. And why does this happen? Maybe because there was no proper communication or proper planning, proper synchronization, and unless we have these things, the teams, whatever effort, both these teams here did good work. They came almost to the finishing point, but then coordination lacked. So even if you work hard, get to the finishing position, but if they are not synchronized, it doesn't mean anything. Are you with me? Now, what happens? We have some plans, we do plans, and then when the time to start comes, sometimes what happens is what we see on the other side of the screen, that everyone is trying to do something. But what is that something? Everyone is splashing around and nothing comes as a result, because though everyone is working hard, but they are not working in synchronization. So synchronization is very important. And how does that happen in a team? There are two situations here. In the situation which we see on the downwards, there are many persons who are guiding. Andar maatladutunnaru. Kani pani matram only one person is doing. Will this move and win the race? Or the team which is on the top, where one is giving direction and rest of them are following in synchronization? Which one of these will win the race? Naturally, the one where all people are working in synchronization. So synchronization is the key to any teamwork. Now, in this particular team, what's happening? Someone is visualizing, seeing things beyond what others can see. Another person is guiding other teams into what they have to do. A third person is setting things in the right direction. Another person is communicating with the people. So these people are doing different works. Andaru vere panulu chestunnaru. Gaani andariki synchronization undi. We need every aspect of this slide into our teams. Someone should be able to visualize. Someone should be able to guide, give the direction. Someone should be able to communicate throughout the process. Someone should be able to get things done and get into picture when something goes wrong, to mend things and repair things. Then only a team can go to a proper direction and give results. Teamwork is nothing but what we say I to we, this is me to we. నేను పని చేస్తాం అని ఆలోచనతో మనం కలిసి పని చేద్దాం, हम मिलकर काम करेंगे, यही भावना रहेगी तो ये टीम वर्क बनेगी. There was an old Hindi movie Naya Daur where there was a song, साथी हाथ बढ़ाना साथी रे, एक अकेला थक जाएगा मिलकर साथ निभाना. That means one can always get tired. So when there is a teamwork, everyone shares the responsibility. Now, in this particular team which you are seeing here, there are many people working. What happens if one of them just goes off the team or drops out? Then it affects the entire team. So when we have team, we have to see that all of the people who are in this team will be working equally well in synchronization and getting the results. Now there is a chain and there are various links into the chain. ఇట్లా links ఉంటాయి కదా chain లో. So what is the strength of the chain? ఆ chain strength ఏముంది? ఈ chain की strength क्या है? It is said that the strength of a chain is the strength of the weakest link. Weakest link, जो सबसे कमजोर link है, वही सारी chain की strength है. So when we have people, different people in our team, the strength of the entire team is equals to the weakest strength of one individual who is among all of these people. One may be very strong, but then when the result gets into change into that particular person who is a bit weak, the entire strength of this person gets equal to the weakness of this team. So whenever we have this team, we should see that every link, every person has to be strengthened. If the person is weak in some areas, we have to see that he is trained, he is motivated enough to get into a position in the same level, at the same level of performance, same level of enthusiasm, same level of knowledge. All the team persons should be able to perform. Then only the strength of the chain is increased. And for that, we need to first understand the competence of each of the team member. Once we understand the competence of each team member, then what we do is we put that person into that position where that person is best fit. Everyone cannot do everything. A fish cannot climb a tree, and similarly there may be several animals which cannot swim. So we have to put fishes where they have to swim. We have to put someone in a position of flying, a bird which can fly. Or when it matters to climb a tree, we have to appoint someone like a monkey to climb that tree. And then synchronize all these chains of persons with different traits so that the best talent of an individual is benefited, transmitted to this entire chain, and this chain becomes a very big performing chain and can deliver these results. Now what happens if we put square peg into a round hole? It's not possible. If you put it, then it doesn't get into it. So we have to first know which peg is square, which peg is round, that is, which of our line member in our team is having what kind of mold, whether he is a person who can give time, whether he is a person who always have very good ideas, or whether he is a person who has got a lot of funds to donate so that others can get into it and a team is built. So we have different qualities among different lions. The only thing is, as a leader, we have to learn to put right person in the right place so that his maximum contribution is utilized for this particular team. That is called expertise pooling. Now we pool people from different walks of life. Someone brings in money, someone brings in the ideas, someone brings in a lot of volunteers to work, someone brings in technological advancement which we need today because we are all at home, but still we want to continue our mission. That's how when all the people with different expertise join into a team, we start performing things which are beyond our capacities. And that is what we as Lions try to do. There may be different people. This is something like this. Different talent is put. We have available this different talent, but then we should be able to synchronize this talent and put them together. Right person at the right place, right kind of spare part at the right place, then only the machine can work. Right? Are we all together? Now this is how it is told by Dalal Feldman that individual talents get magnified when we have a collective team working. So when people work together, all our talents get magnified, because I may lack in many talents, but I may have couple of talents which are quite evident in me and I can perform better. So my good talent as well as somebody else's good talent, all these things put together, when they perform, so everyone's best comes into picture, and the picture, ultimate, the overall picture is really brilliant. So this is what happens when together we work, we can make massive breakthroughs. Each one of these individuals cannot break this particular door, but then when all of them work together, join together, they can do. That is what teamwork is. These are the few effective, say, characteristics of effective teams. All effective teams interact well. People do talk to each other in a good situation, and then the interaction leads to understanding what each one is thinking about that particular project or that particular aspect, and then work can be delegated. Then accountability. A good team is always accountable. They are accountable to each other as well as to the entire team, because one particular job is given to one person, another job is given to another person. So naturally, whatever each individual does separately has to get back, and he is accountable to the rest of the team that his delegated work has been done as per the aspirations of the entire group. Commitment to goals. Unless every one of these persons are committed to the group goal. The group goal is what this entire group decides for themselves. Group goal is what is decided by the group. Now, what happens in, say, government organizations? Goal is decided by someone who is in position, higher position, and he tells his subordinate, this is what has to be done. And rest of them just perform to the best of their ability and get back and report. But then there are organizations where group itself decides what goals they will have, whether achievable goals or the goals have to be adjusted, or what kind of work they do. And what happens when people decide, when the entire team decides about goals, the goal becomes their individual goal as well as the group goal. It's not like in the government situation. What happens? The goal is given by the higher authority. That's the government goal. For example, in income tax, they say this is what we expect as revenue collection this year. Now, rest of the commissioners and everyone, they work to get to that particular goal. That's all, because it's given by someone in higher position. But then among organizations like us, or even in business organizations, when a goal is set by the entire team, then everyone is involved in the process of making that goal. And now that goal becomes his own goal. So he is very clear about it. Not only just clear about it, he is committed because he owns that particular goal. And once that ownership aspect comes to it, definitely his performance will be 100% to achieve that particular goal. That is where shared planning and decision making is a characteristic, that is what we say, of a very good team. Now, what happens when a team is working? Not every day can be smooth. Not every aspect or every situation can be very smooth. There may be rough times. And what happens in rough times? A lot of things go against what has been planned. There has to be plan B, there has to be emergency plans, there has to be communication, and there has to be something called uplifting their own performance when it is needed. Now, in this situation, what happens when a storm comes into this particular area and a ship is struck? Everyone gives more than 100% of himself, because they have to save not just themselves, but the entire team and the project itself, that is the ship itself. Because if the ship wrecks, then their entire project or their entire goal or whatever they wanted to do, things with that. So they raise their level of operation. So whenever there is a situation, this particular situation is almost similar to us. We had been used to calm things, daily getting up, going to our offices, businesses, do our work, get back, organize things. We were a very organized manner. But now the situation has totally turned. We cannot do what we were doing regularly. This thing has been thrust upon us. Now what we are doing, we are learning this technology. We are meeting through webinars. We are meeting through communication, other channels using technology. Almost many of us have never used these technologies of interaction like webinars and these things. But then now, as the situation has arisen, we are upgrading ourselves. We are learning to cope up with the current situation. And this is what is needed, because this COVID situation cannot all of a sudden go, and it will remain for quite some time. And it requires our understanding, our running of this organization, as well as running of our clubs, districts in a different manner. And we are getting into that. We have conducted our elections online. And as was said by someone else earlier, that people have started liking it, because we have been spending lakhs of rupees in organizing these things. But then when we use technology, there was hardly any expensive, and it was, everyone was able to do it from his own home. So they found it cheap as well as interesting and new learning for them. So that is how a team will have to learn things, and then once they get through these turbulent times, naturally it becomes a smooth sailing. It becomes a smooth sailing, everything is calm, and they can enjoy the life as they used to earlier. Now there are few stages of development of team. Normally any program or any learning on team development starts from this slide, but I have tried to put this slide almost at the fag end of this session, because I just wanted to go through in different fashion. And now when we talk of these 4 stages, you will better understand these 4 stages. What is the first stage? First stage is forming. Well, a team has to be formed, and we have seen that we cannot put square peg into a round hole. So forming requires lot of knowledge, experience, understanding of individual traits. And when things are put together, this is the first thing for a good team, has to be good formation. If the team formation itself has some flaws, the results will always not be as expected. Once the team is formed, then definitely then we go to planning. Now when we go to planning, it's called storming. Why it is called storming? Because different people with different ideas, they bring different ideas, and you cannot incorporate all the ideas into a particular situation. So what happens? There will be different ideas. All of a sudden we will have this, and conflicting ideas. What you have to do is, you have to have a common path, common minimum program. As governments, we have governments in our country, when there is a fracture mandate, common minimum program. Keep around differences, have a common minimum program. But in our this thing, we have a common goal, and then it becomes the goal of this entire group. And then this entire group becomes calm. Then the process of norming. And what is norming? The norming is basically when the storms, other ideas, everything, they are put together, and then a normal situation is brought in, where everything gets synchronized, ideas synchronized, humans synchronized, and the whole setup becomes a perfect setup. Then comes the performance. Once all these 3 stages are done smoothly, performance is only a matter of time. That's all, nothing doing. Once these 3 stages are completed, performance is 100% guaranteed that it will be the best thing to be done. Now, these are all few things which happens. We start from our planning, then we gather ideas, then we see the opportunities. There might be a competition, marketing. Again, this slide is for generally made. Then sales. In our situations, we have our members and our projects, ventures, innovation. As we go into it, we get into innovations like we are doing right now. We are getting innovated into new ideas. Then our goals are set. strategies are set, we get support from each other, we get support from outside, the teams start working, teamworks are working, customers are involved, our members are involved, and our members are happy, performance is done, and the moment the performance is done, success is always guaranteed. Now, this is what the few stages, that is idea. The team first gets an idea, then prepares an action, then prepares a plan, and then gets into action, and then strategy to build that particular, to get to that particular goal, the strategy is built. Once the strategy is built, naturally the success is guaranteed. Because now what happens is we have knowledge, we have experience, we have support, we have expertise, and we have a common goal. And now when we have all these things, nothing in this world can stop us. A new member or a new team can become into a mighty lion. As you see in this photo, someone who was a very mediocre can grow into a very big person. A small idea can get into a very big achievement. A small thought can realize into a big hospital or a project, whatever we call it. So thank you very much. With this, I do end my slides.
Thank you, Lion Purohitji. That was a real impressive presentation, and thank you very much. But there are one or two questions here. Somebody would like to know who decides the common goals of a team?
Yes, very good question. Maybe I don't know whether you have grasped it when I was presenting. It depends on organization to organizations. As I said, when it's a government organization, what happens? That goal or whatever target is being given by someone in higher authority. But then when it gets into a proper good business setup or a service unit like ours, the goal, definitely the president may have some idea, but then he has to present that idea into the team, that board meeting. He has to share his ideas and then get back the feedback, make that particular idea of him. Let him not call it his goal. Let him say, this is my idea. So what happens? He sows that seed of ideas into each of his board members, and then they start thinking on it, and they will give their own opinions. Maybe it may be a brilliant idea of mine, but then it may not be workable, or it may not suit to my environment. I will get that kind of reaction. And then if everyone says yes, this is a brilliant idea and we can do it, then they start planning it. So what happens? The goal is set, and who sets this goal? The entire team, whether we call it board or the inner cabinet or core team, whatever we call it, but it becomes a team goal. So it's always better in an organization like us to have a team goal rather than an individual goal. Otherwise, what happens? It is the president's goal. They don't own it. So we have to make everyone own the goal. And when everyone has to own that particular goal, it has to come from within themselves. So it's our knack that we put those seeds into those minds and then make it to grow. And then it becomes a common goal. So let's have common goals rather than individual goals.
Thank you, Purohitji, for that clarification that you've given. Here is the one more question. There are a lot of small clubs around today. Many clubs have very few members. Is team building still relevant to them?
Yes, we do have many clubs which are very small in number. Definitely team building is relevant everywhere. Even if there are about 5 to 6 members in a particular club, they have to work in unison. They can't be working as individuals. If it gets to only individual working, then the concept of club itself collapses. So whatever may be the size of the club, every club has to be run as a team. But then there are many larger clubs also where only 4 or 5 or 6 persons are the team, and they work. They manage the show, and that's also a team. So even if a club is having 50 to 60 members, but then only 5 to 6 clubs are taking care of that particular club, They are managing goals, they are managing everything. That's also being managed by only 4 or 5 clubs. And what's the harm if there are only 5 or 6 members in a club and all of them are active and all of them are performing? But then definitely we should have a larger number of members, because apart from being this goal, member satisfaction and being in a larger company will always be better. So in our district also, we have been encouraging such clubs which are very small in numbers, membership in very small numbers, to merge into another club. And last year alone, we saw that 2 of the clubs get to merge into two other clubs, and then 2 smaller clubs become one a larger club, and they are reaping the benefits of becoming a bigger club now. So that step is, it's always advisable, right, sir?
Thank you, Purohit. Again, there is one more question here. Maybe it reads like this: how can we improve the effectiveness of our clubs and multiply our effectiveness? What approach do we need?
If you're talking in terms of teamwork, definitely, as we said, that if everyone of the team is empowered and he is imparted the knowledge about Lionism, knowledge about what we do, and motivated enough, and that passion is built into every Lion, that he belongs to this great organization, and ultimately our goal is that we serve. So what happens is every individual member becomes an ambassador of Lionism, and he becomes a better performer. And when every member of every club, of any club, becomes a better involved and passionate Lion, definitely improvement in the service and improvement in the club as an entirety will be arrived. So we have to work on individuals, empower those individuals, inculcate the basic principles of Lionism, motivate them, and develop that passion of being of help and trying to do something, because almost everyone has some desire to do something good. Then only he becomes a Lion, and that desire has to be उसको एक आग बनाना चाहिए हमको. And the moment that person has that fire in himself, he will become a very good performer. And then when few individuals in a particular club, when they have this fire to do something good, naturally that club will definitely excel. We have seen examples of clubs which were almost on a collapsing stage, and we lost hope that this club will survive. But immediately after that, a very good president comes, and then the club totally turns around. We have experienced this about 4 or 5 years ago. I don't want to take the club's name right here, but then there was a club which was almost for 5 years totally defunct, and nothing was happening there. And we knew that this club will get closed at any time. All of a sudden, one good president came. He was a good doctor, and really, in that particular 1 year, he totally transformed that club into a very, very active club. And by the end of the year, that was the most vibrant club of our district, and it won all the possible awards in that particular year. And same people, same old generation who were totally lost, kya karna hai, chal raha hai, nobody is interested, and all past presidents, they became so vibrant, so active along with the new team, and everything was mesmerizingly changed. So that can happen. We should never lose hope, right?
Okay, I think here is the last question. We have another 2 minutes to go. I'll rephrase this question. Most likely, this is the intention of the one who asked the question. You talked about competitive situation in the context of NGOs like Lions clubs. Is there any competition with other NGOs, or are we complementing each other?
It's difficult to say that we are competing with each others. Definitely, we may not be competing with each other. We are only complementing, because even all the mighty governments on this earth are not able to address all the needs of the societies and every individual. So there is a lot of scope. lot of scope for every organization, every social unit, every NGO to be doing things. The only thing is we should see that efforts are not duplicated in any area. For example, if an iCamp is organized in one particular village by one organization, immediately next week another one goes and organizes. After third week, another one goes and organizes. It's useless. So we have to see that we don't do repeat things in the same manner. There are enough. There are other villages. There are other opportunities. There are other camps. So you can, once the iCamp is done, if you want to do something else, you can do a dental camp. You can do some educational activity in that particular area itself, or you go to some other place. So what happens is there is enough space. There is enough space for every organization, lot of people, because इस दुनिया में suffering आज खत्म नहीं हुआ है. दुनिया में हर जगह गरीबी है, तकलीफ है, lot of work is needed, which even the mightiest of the government are not able to do with such huge budgets. So what happens is every scope is there. The only thing is we should work as per the need of the society. That is what we said. Wherever there is a need, there is a land. So every activity should definitely first have a need assessment. And once the need assessment is done, definitely our project will be successful, because we address the current need of that particular society or school or village, whatever the situation is there. So we do that, and definitely there is a lot of scope, because this world has not turned into a heaven, and it will not turn into a heaven even for 100 years. So at least for next 100 years, there can be hundreds of organizations, hundreds of clubs, hundreds of different units, which will be doing some good thing or the other. Thank you.
Thank you, Purohitji. You handled those questions really well. Your presentation was quite impressive and a lot of information you've given. And you also had a wonderful story to substantiate what you said. Thank you. Thank you once again.